This is the weekend edition of iFIBER 1 News, where we present some of the top stories from this week and your weekend weather forecast. I'm Bethany Jenks. Stay tuned for the weekend edition of iFIBER 1 News.
From the iFIBER 1 HD studio here in the heart of the Columbia Basin, this is iFIBER 1 News. Your #1 source for local news, sports headlines, and our very own Weather Center forecast covering the entire Columbia Basin. This is iFIBER 1 News, and it starts now.
One of our top stories for this week was about a livestock judge who's been judging animals at the Grant County Fair for nearly 40 years. Reporter Jeff Chu has the story.
When it comes to judging pigs at Grant County Fair, Randy Wiggins knows what makes a good pork chop. Wiggins, a retired Warden High School agriculture teacher, has evaluated swine carcasses most of his life. He retired after 31 years as a teacher and Future Farmers of America advisor. He is a winner of the Agriculture Educator's Lifetime Achievement Award. What does it take to judge the pig carcass competition?
Well, it does take some training, and it takes WSU, University of Idaho, they've put on some different classes, and then it's going to other shows and watching some of the big judges, or I'd say more experienced, that are around it a lot more. Meat science classes don't hurt. Wiggins, who has judged farm animals at Grant County Fair since 1977, explained what he looks for in a winning pig at the fair. A lot of people give me a bad time. That's why I make a good judge, because I consume a lot of meat. But basically, it's, you have your major cuts, and you're looking at your major cuts, how they're finished, and the structure of the animal. Wiggins shared his love of judging animals at the fair, including sheep and steers. I like working with kids, and I like my kids raise pigs, and I've raised pigs since I was young. I don't currently have any pigs, but it was always a competition, a career development event, and so if you see kids that are in this industry and stick with it, you know, it's really cool to see that. Wiggins, who figures he has judged thousands of pigs over the years, has seen many FFA kids literally grow up while showing pigs at the fair. They make it really tough when it comes time for pitting and showing, because they're out there, they're dolled up, their pigs are dolled up, and you can tell they've worked with them and can show them off. But it does. The carcass contest gives an opportunity for the young kids that aren't in 4-H or FFA yet to show an animal too. Sarah Smith, a regional specialist in the animal sciences for Washington State University Grant County Extension, who helps coordinate animal showing at the fair, praised Wiggins. Smith explained what makes Wiggins such a good judge of swine.
Well, there's a couple things. One, he understands our industry, which is really important, that we not only look for an animal that's got eye appeal, but it'll also end up being a good eating quality animal. So he understands our industries, what our consumers want, and how those are buying. And then probably the thing that makes him exceptional, he's really good with the kids, he's good on the mic, he explains what he's looking for. So it's educational for the kids and for the people watching, so they can kind of learn while watching. There's a lot that goes into making sure there's a good quality pork chop on your plate.
I'm Jeff Chu for iFIBER 1 News.
Moses Lake Rotary Club members have been a regular at the Grant County Fair entrance for more than 30 years, greeting thousands of visitors. Reporter Cameron Probert has more on the volunteer hours at the fair.
For more than 30 years, members of the Moses Lake Rotary Club have collected tickets from Grant County fairgoers. Club members volunteer for one of 139 4-hour shifts at the 4 gates of the Grant County Fairgrounds. They take tickets, stamp hands, and count the amount of people who come through the gates. Club members said their goal is to help people get into the fairgrounds. Fred Skinner, a past president of the club, said they help by getting people wheelchairs and other assistance.
We try to work with the fair to try to make things work as smoothly as possible.
Skinner has volunteered at the fair for the past 35 years.
I've been out here a lot longer than that. And to be very frank, I'm not sure when we started doing this, but it was, I know that when I first joined the club, this was an activity that we were expected to participate in, and it had been going on for quite a few years prior to the 80s.
For iFIBER 1 News, This is Cameron Probert reporting.
And now we take a look at people being sought by law enforcement.
This is Sheriff Tom Jones with the Grant County Sheriff's Office. Each of the people you see here have a warrant for their arrest. If you see any of these people, we ask you do not attempt to detain or apprehend them, but call us at 509-762-1160 or send us an email at crimetips@co.grant.wa.us. If the person is presenting a danger, call 911. With your help, we can bring these people to justice and make our community safer.
We will be right back after this.
My name is Kat Sanderson, Managing Broker for Pillar Rock Realty Group. We love the Columbia Basin because it's our home, and we want to give back to our community by kicking off our Pay It Forward campaign. If you buy or list with us, we will donate 1% of our total proceeds to a local charity of your choice and in your name. Call us today at 754-4444 or visit pillarrockrealty.com because we are your local real estate experts.
Now for your iFIBER 1 News Weather Center forecast.
Hello everyone, I'm Cristina Sanchez with your local weather segment brought to you by Barry Motors. One great place to buy and service a car. We're still under a red flag warning throughout the night since we do have strong wind gusts up to 35 miles an hour, maybe even stronger. And this is due to a cold front that has already moved across the area. And this is why we have been under a blowing dust advisory that will continue throughout the evening. A cold front has already moved into the inland northwest. This is bringing a drop in temperatures and also those gusty winds throughout the overnight hours. For Saturday, for us here in Ephrata, I do expect the winds to be up to 10 miles an hour. Within the past 24 hours, we did start off the day in the low 70s for us here in Ephrata. The average low is 60 degrees, so it's still well above normal for this time of year. Highs today closer to the average high, which is in the upper 80s, and the record high temperature for the state was set back in 04, and the record high was 103. Our sunset at 8:12 for tonight. For you in Moses Lake, you did start off the day in the upper 60s. Your average low temperatures in the mid 50s and highs right around that average high temperature, which is in the upper 80s. And your record high temperature for the state was set back in 1992, and the record high was 102. Those high temperatures that we had yesterday. Now for us here in Ephrata, currently we're right around the mid 80s. We still have those westerly winds, sustained winds between 20 to 30 miles an hour, wind gusts up to 35 miles an hour, and we'll continue to have those strong wind gusts throughout the overnight hours as this cold front already moves out of the area, and it's also bringing a chance of strong showers and thunderstorms. Some may become severe west of our Columbia Basin, but as we go into Saturday, that's all going to move out of the area as the cold front moves into the northeastern portions of the state, and right behind it there will be much cooler air mass and also dry conditions across the area for us here within our Columbia Basin for Saturday afternoon and Sunday afternoon. I do expect to have plenty of sunshine and improving conditions also along the coast throughout the overnight hours as that cold front moves into the northeastern portions of our state. As we take a look at the high temperatures for this Saturday, right around the mid 70s in Seattle, Yakima Valley, mid 80s, plenty of sunshine, and look at that inland northwest, still feel that drop in temperatures with high temperatures right around the upper 70s, plenty of sunshine. And let's take a quick closer view within our area. Once again, we'll feel the cool down in temperatures for tomorrow. Our high temperature right around the low 80s with plenty of sunshine for us here in Ephrata, and for you in Royal City, highs will be right around the mid 80s. Within the next 7 days, I do expect the highs to be right around the low to mid 80s for this weekend. Nice weather pattern, dry conditions for us. Then highs for Tuesday will be in the low 90s.
To save some energy, I've used Einstein's mass energy equivalents to design the haptic suits you see in front of you. They will maintain our core body temperature while we completely turn off our heat and air conditioning. With the money we save on our Grant PD bill, I'll be expecting that trip to Disneyland this year.
You don't need to be a super genius to save energy and money. Visit grantpud.org to learn how.
The Moses Lake Derby drew a full house Wednesday as hundreds turned out to cheer on their favorite car and driver.
The arena was packed and the crowd was abuzz in anticipation of the annual Moses Lake Demolition Derby. And car and driver didn't disappoint as patchwork vehicles sped around the track spewing dirt at onlookers on every turn. But what they really came to see were racers sliding, spinning, rolling, and smashing into each other, and they got plenty of that too. The night kicked off with time trials to determine order of racers in each event. Tim Montgomery, Kyle Palmer, Jordan Cobb, Bill Musgrove, Luke Carter, Lauren Ram, Sid White, and Kevin Olson took the checkers in the heat races. A big spill in the first turn in the ATV heat brought oohs and ahs from the crowd, but all was well as the driver escaped unharmed and the race continued. Cody Kavanaugh and company entertained the crowd as workers prepared the track for the Demo Derby. The group will be performing high-flying daredevil tricks on their 2- and 4-wheelers during intermission at the rodeo. There weren't many cars left for the main event as destruction ruled on the evening, but there was still plenty of smash-em-up action going on. The last man, or should I say vehicle standing, was Randy Haynes in the number 97 car. Austin Weber in car number 91 took second, and Robbie Jackson in car 93 placed third.
The 52nd annual Moses Lake Roundup kicked off Thursday evening in the arena at the Grant County Fairgrounds.
Right after this one, we'll see. The Roundup is just one stop on the Professional Cowboy Rodeo Association circuit and draws some of the top competitors from around the country. Last night's action saw plenty of broncs and bulls kick up their heels trying to shake cowpokes off their backs before the required 8 seconds elapse, which signifies a successful ride. The Roundup has gained notoriety over the years as one of the better venues on the Columbia River Circuit, being voted Small Rodeo of the Year in 2011, and after increasing purse money, won Large Rodeo of the Year in 2013, going up against the likes of the Ellensburg Rodeo and the Pendleton Roundup. The calf roping, steer wrestling, bronco busting, and bull riding action picks back up this evening and ends with the championship finals on Saturday.
Everyday close, Fred. Have a great weekend at the fair. We'll be back.
For 12 years, Freitas hosted the Best Free Music Festival in Washington. This year was no exception with performers like Austin Jenks. And you're going to meet him and other headliners like Greg Raleigh, founding member of Santana and Journey. Welcome to iFIBER One's Inside Look at Basin Summer Sounds.
She says she talks to angels. They call her out by her name.
Our next story is about volunteers working at the fair's food booths to help raise money for youth organizations. Reporter Jeff Chu has the story.
At Grant County Fair, they raise money by selling a hot dog or a hamburger here and a chilled smoothie or ice cream there. They're the volunteers who staff food and beverage stands this week on the fair's midway with proceeds benefiting youth. In a concession stand painted to look like Legos, Carol Hahn, coach for the Campfire First Moses Lake Robotics Camp, shared how the organization raises money. They sell cotton candy, sodas, popcorn, and ice cream to run the Robotics First Lego League of 40 academically exceptional youth.
They don't have a little model thing that they can play with. It's more or less you build a robot and you have 2.5 minutes to complete a challenge.
Hahn recalled how the program began.
We started this program with 5 little girls, and out of those 5 little girls, 2 of them that wanted to grow up, one wanted to be a teacher, one wanted to be an artist, and they're both at Central this fall in the engineering program. It's nothing else that encourages these kids to go to college and to look at other avenues.
Nearby, Debbie Talbot and other Moses Lake youth hockey volunteers are selling fruit smoothies and other drinks with pretzels and nachos to raise money for their traveling hockey league. The youth ages 4 to 17 are playing hockey once again this winter at the City of Moses Lake's reopened ice rink.
Last year we had 40 kids on a traveling team. This year we're hoping to increase our numbers because the ice rink is back open. Previous year we had over 70 kids playing hockey, so we're hoping to get that number back up there.
Talbot said volunteers at the stand can sign kids up to play or answer questions about the hockey league. Richard Whiteman has volunteered at the Block 40 concession stand since the 1980s. He designed the stand back then, which was built by Job Corps youth. Originally a group of Moses Lake area irrigators, Block 40 raises money for youth scholarships and operates out of a community club on Road 12 Northeast.
Well, we'd like it to be agriculture related, but no, that's not necessarily a criteria.
Block 40 volunteers sell milkshakes and ice cream cones to raise scholarship money at their stand. The Ephrata Lions Club concession stand is spruced up this fair with a new lion mural by Ephrata artist Michael Bosnar. Bosnar also painted the mural on Ephrata's Lee Theater. Ephrata Lions president Jason Everson said money raised through the sale of hot dogs, hamburgers, and drinks at the stand goes to assist youth, adults, and seniors in need.
All the money that we raise goes to putting it back in the community, like junior joggers, and we have a site fund, and we have a site van that goes to the school, and we build ramps and stuff for disabled people, and just scholarships and stuff like that.
There's no shortage of fun foods at the fair, where you can eat everything from Asian to fried Snickers, Twinkies, and funnel cakes. I'm Jeff Chu for iFIBER 1 News.
We'll be right back.
Quincy Foods, LLC, a subsidiary of Norpac Foods, is seeking motivated individuals to fill the positions of general laborer for their corn harvest season. They have full-time seasonal openings, must be 18 years old and older, willing to work swing shift. Great people to work for in a challenging food processing environment. Apply at 222 Columbia Way in Quincy between 8 and 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, or online through WorkSource. Quincy Foods is an equal opportunity employer.
Welcome back. The next story is about the hard work put in by people getting their sheep ready to show this week and what to look for in a good sheep. Reporter Cameron Probert has the story.
Tuesday morning was busy for people preparing to show their sheep and lambs at the fair. For Lakota Lang, he was preparing to take his lamb Beast Mode in to show as part of the division of participants who breed and own their own sheep. Lang helps manage his father's flock of between 100 and 200 head of sheep. The one he was showing was born in April, and he helped raise it along with the rest of the flock. He was hopeful for the lamb, which he said had good meat. The judges look at the loin, the most valuable portion of the animal, and the leg, and how much fat is on the lamb.
Certain amount of fat to cover its ribs and back so it doesn't get bruised, the meat doesn't get bruised on packaging, but not.
Inside another barn, Lynn Schossler stood by her group of Shetland sheep. The Soap Lake resident has a flock of about 20 of the smaller breed. She brought a collection of them to show at the Grant County Fair.
They come from the Shetland Islands of Scotland, and there they were originated in about the 1600s, and these sheep are about the same as they were at that same time. I'm part of a trust so that if anything happens to the sheep on the Shetland Islands, they can come and get my genetics and repopulate with the same bloodlines.
The sheep are mostly used for their wool. Each of the sheep can produce about 4 pounds of fiber to be used for spinning into yarn.
They are mostly a wool sheep, especially here in the States. In Scotland, because they were the only sheep they had around in the 1600s, they were for meat as well as milk. I think I'll keep mine for the wonderful fiber that makes sweaters and socks for my kids' Christmas presents.
The Grant County Fair is one of 8 shows she plans to attend. She brought the sheep to Montana, Oregon, Western Washington, and has more Washington fairs to attend.
Fiber makes up the largest amount of the judges' score, but if you don't have a good body, if you don't have good teeth, good feet, there's no way that can be, the fiber can be supported.
For iFIBER 1 News, this is Cameron Probert reporting.
Rounding out this week's fair coverage is a story about a blind horse saved from an abusive owner. The horse competed at several events at the fair this year. Reporter Devin Higgins has the story.
Back in the stables at the Grant County Fairgrounds, you'll find horses of all shapes and sizes, but there's one old steed who's been a long-time favorite of the crowds and the kids.
Step. Good.
This is Tate, a 20-year-old Appalachian mare owned since 2003 by the Marchand family based in Marlin, Washington, and has been blind since she was a few years old. Lori Marchand and her husband helped rescue Tate from years of abuse, including being struck in the head by a 2x4, rendering her unable to see. The Marchands have been able to use Tate as a training and competition horse for their children in 4-H group, the Ghost Gamers, and she's competing at the fair in several events this weekend. Lori and her children said Tate is a gentle horse who's easy to ride and is very intuitive around people and other horses, using her senses of smell and hearing to make up for her blindness. For the Marchands, they say the $800 they spent to rescue the mare turned out to be money well spent. At the Grant County Fair, Devin Higgins for iFIBER 1 News.
That wraps up our weekend edition. iFIBER 1 News will be back on Monday at 5 p.m. with the latest news from around the Columbia Basin. Thank you for watching. Welcome back. Moses Lake native James Sauceda is Big Bend Community College's new STEM director. His new role is lead administrator of the college's $4.4 million federal STEM grant. The money is to help the college increase student enrollment and transfer to universities to study science, technology, engineering, and math. Sauceda graduated from Big Bend in 2004 with a transfer degree, allowing him to enroll at Washington State University. He graduated with a bachelor's in mechanical engineering in 2009. He is working to earn his master's degree in mechanical engineering later this year. Big Bend President Terry Lees stated that James' story is an example of what they hope to achieve with the STEM grant. He's a local high school graduate who earned his degree and returned to the area. About 600 fruits and vegetables were entered at an exhibit at the Grant County Fair this year. Reporter Jeff Chu spoke with Master Gardener Trudy Walsh to see how the produce is judged.
The heat and smoke from wildfires this summer reduced the number of tomatoes entered in the Grant County Fair fruit and vegetable exhibit. So says Master Gardener Trudy Walsh, who is co-superintendent of the fair's agriculture building with Master Gardener Karen Fowler. Walsh says growing conditions made it difficult for blossoms to set on the tomato plants. Despite the gardening issue, about 600 fruit and vegetables were entered at the exhibit. Walsh said vegetable and fruit gardening is getting more popular.
Absolutely, and composting and the whole buying local and knowing where your food comes from. And one of the things I'm a big proponent of, and I go around and I've gone to schools and things teaching, is container gardening. So even if you're living in an apartment, you should be able to grow your own vegetables, grow your own fruits, and compost.
Some of the more unusual homegrown entries included a long trombone squash, purple tomatillos, purple cherry tomatoes, 3 massive onions, and a pumpkin that ripened to orange a month early. Kids also had fun with what they grew. I'm Jeff Chu for iFIBER 1 News.
Prosecutors dropped felony charges against an 80-year-old Wilson Creek man for taking his ex-wife out of a nursing care facility on Christmas. Deputy Prosecutor Ed Owens asked Grant County Superior Court Judge John Antos to dismiss charges of unlawful imprisonment and reckless endangerment against Philip Pearson. The case was being moved to Grant County District Court, and Pearson faces 1 count of custodial interference. The charge is a gross misdemeanor, and Pearson can face up to 1 year in jail. Pearson reportedly took his ex-wife out of the McKay Health Care and Rehabilitation Center and drove the 77-year-old woman to his home in Wilson Creek. She was in the facility to receive end-of-life care and was unable to make decisions. The tactical response team entered the home to arrest Pearson and rescue the woman. In Northwest news, 3 firefighters are dead as raging wildfires continue to grow in central Washington and more residents are being forced to evacuate. Cairo's Natasha Chen has the story.
It's hard for firefighters to continue stamping out these flames, knowing 3 of their own died doing the same thing.
It hurts, you know, it tears you apart, but at the same time, you know, we want to do what they would want, and that would be to finish the job.
The worst is the fire. I don't want anybody to burn.
I told evacuees leaving Twisp and Winthrop who hadn't heard yet about the loss of 3 Forest Service firefighters.
Oh, jeez, no.
The fire is one thing, but the loss of life is the worst case scenario.
You can always rebuild a home, but you can't rebuild a life.
Right.
Alan and Christine Bisnet looked out their backyard and saw this smoke coming. They soon got a visit from the sheriff telling them to evacuate. They had just enough time to grab their dogs and the lasagna Christine just finished cooking in the oven.
I didn't know it was going to be that quick. The last time we had time to prepare.
Everyone we talked to mentioned a last time because they've all been through this before.
You know, people lose things.
Deanne Barry hadn't even unpacked the suitcase she had during last year's Carlton Complex fire.
This is one of my favorite of my girls.
She has photos, her Nana's Bible, and the hope that they'll all still have a home to come back to.
That's going to do it for us here at iFIBER 1 News. We want to thank you for watching, and we'll see you again tomorrow.